Okay, here we are, the final week of this 8-week format for data science and big data analytics. We're going to wrap up. We've got one more discussion board, and it does not involve data science or blockchain. So I thought I would cover my thoughts on that um, as we move through. We're going to uh, have a few final thoughts on the course, and then I want to talk dissertation foundations. Most of you are moving quickly into your dissertation. Some of you are newer in the program, but many of you will be moving from here into the DSRT courses, which is where you actually get credit for working on the dissertation as a future researcher. I've always accented that in this course, that this prepares you to be a researcher. It's not a master's degree. It's not just another advanced degree. It's preparing you to join the community of researchers and actually add to the body of knowledge with original research projects. So, uh, then I'll cover the final reflective activity discussion board. I hope to see some participation in that in the final week. It's very often um, compressed, and folks uh, are pressed to get everything in by Wednesday night. Last night of the course is Wednesday night, week 8. So make sure you get your original post and your replies in. Okay, so thoughts on this course? I think there's no denying that the data science topics we were able to just briefly touch on were interesting. A lot of you are really more applications developers, but some of you are data analysts, data scientists, and are probably able to use this information more than others. We didn't really get to cover Spark. Hadoop was the beginning of big data, and that lets you set up clusters of servers that would divide and conquer analysis and processing of big data. Spark is several times faster. These are all Apache projects, but now you can still do those in the cloud, but all the major cloud providers now offer their own big data solutions that will scale. Just bring your checkbook and get ready to pay for more processors, more disk space, um, more memory, and it can work on it. But anyway, so yeah, the data analysis tools, data science tools. I posted a lot about Python and R. If you were unable to watch those, but you wanted to, they're all on my YouTube channel. So you can save them or save a link to them or whatever, and they'll stay up forever. I'm continuing with Python, learning a little more all the time, because it is a more general purpose language. It is more general purpose, um, and I have to do a lot of teaching in like IT automation and whatnot, and just software engineering, object oriented programming. And R is really more about data science, purely about data science. But that video is out there. Dr. Whitney Worley is a fine professional, very watchable, and she gives a great overview of the R programming language. So I hope you all enjoyed that, if you had time to watch it. So yeah, final thoughts on the course, and then blockchain. Of course, they stick half of this course as blockchain. I uh, didn't have anything to do with that decision. So as they modify the curriculum to incorporate pure blockchain courses, hopefully there won't be a course called data science and big data analytics, and then make half of it a completely separate topic. So you're welcome to to work with the faculty on with your thoughts on that. I'm not the faculty, the administration actually, on your thoughts on that. But yeah, blockchain's a kind of one of those. I like the saying it's a solution in need of a problem. Like I said, other than the undeniable of Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other up and coming crypto securities. I hate to call them a currency. Um, there's value there. I mean, there's perceived value. It could crash and burn at any moment for any number of reasons. There's so little holding it up but speculation. Ethereum's a little bit different. Ethereum is if you're going to move forward with a um, blockchain as a service, blockchain enhanced applications, any of that kind of stuff. I think Ethereum's going about it the right way, but the good old what Sakamoto Bitcoin blockchain, that thing, um, yeah, that's interesting. Curious what Bitcoin's worth this work if we've had an up or a down. Uh, it's back down 53, but it's down a couple thousand in the last 2 days, but it's up from it's up from a month ago. Anyway, yeah, good old Bitcoin. So on to what we really want to talk about this lecture, and that is your up and coming dissertation. And all I can share with you is my own journey and the journeys of the people in my doctoral cohort that went through the journey with me, and what we learned from our professors. And most folks only get one shot at writing a dissertation and doing a dissertation, but I've also been able to help some students here and there go through their own. So I have some thoughts to offer. First of all, what is a dissertation? Some people think it's a theme paper, like a master's thesis, where you just write a lot of stuff about a topic. And it is not that. Um, there's a couple of different formats. I'm going to cover the one I'm familiar with and the one that I know Dr. Brown is moving you towards in all of the dissertation preparation uh, optional activities within the weekly content folders. And that is the final project of a dissertation. That's the first thing that it is. But really, what it's for is to prove that you understand the research process that you have been taught in your PhD program. You understand what research questions are. You understand what methodologies are, problem statement, purpose statement, literature reviews. You understand what findings are versus discussion. You understand what recommending future research is of your own, based on your own research topic. So that's really what it is your final exam, sort of. I'm not sure. I don't work in that area. I don't know if Cumberland's has cumulative exams or not, but that's what the dissertation is, really, your final project and proof that you get it. It is strictly formatted. Generally, there are five. Sometimes the final two chapters are broken out, and there will be 6 chapters. But generally speaking, your chapter 1 is your introduction, which is basically a synopsis of the entire dissertation. Reading chapter 1 of a dissertation should give you everything you need to know about that dissertation. You don't really need to read all the details in the following chapters. Chapter 2 is the literature review, where you prove to your committee and to everyone else that you have mastered the literature. You have read every journal article that relates closely to your research project, and then some. And you're able to walk the reader through everything about your project, why it's a problem, uh, how your research project adds to the body of knowledge. In chapter 2 is where you'll specify um, your literature gap. And then yeah, chapter 3 is methodology, where you'll discuss how you're going about um, doing it. Chapter 4 is your actual the conduct of the research and the findings, the facts. And chapter 5 is normally discussion and opportunities for future research, and they flow like that. And as I have advised numerous times in the course, you should be downloading dissertations and checking them out and reading them, seeing what you think. Um, the more prestigious the university, the better the dissertation, generally speaking. So if you want to download recent dissertations from, the Ivy League and um, whatever, Stanford, um, Cornell, the big colleges, um, you'll find some very good projects out there. So, like I said, it's strictly formatted. It fills a gap in the body of knowledge. It's a new research project. It's not just a theme paper. And again, download some examples. I'm going to post these slides. I don't normally do that, but I'm going to post these slides because there are links down here in the speaker notes that you might find handy. Lots and lots and lots of resources. Okay, so the first step in your journey generally is to think about a problem area. And I know Dr. Brown has also said this. You need to think about something that uh, kind of intuitively, instinctively, professionally, you've seen you just know there's room for improvement in a given area. My first idea was in the area of data getting stuck in the old system. I had seen this happen at work. We had moved from a homegrown workflow tool to a customized version of a Microsoft Dynamics CRM tool in order to track what they're called tasks. They're large projects that a large military staff works on. Anyway, so we bought this Microsoft project, and I said, "Hey, how are we going to migrate the data?" I was the records manager for the entire organization, and I said, "We've got all the records of all of these tasks, these projects stuck in this homegrown system. How are we going to move them?" And I was sold a bill of goods along with everybody else, and we wound up having to maintain that system for years, just to keep access to the old tasks, the old workflows, and all the new ones were done. And so it was, yeah, ugly. And I've been working with people where they had moved CRM systems, customer relationship management systems. And I was told, "Oh, yeah, your data's in the old system. Hang on, let me log into that one." So they obviously had gone through a migration where the data was stuck. So I saw this as a problem, but I didn't continue with it because I couldn't find previous research. Like I say in that second bullet, do an expansive literature review. I couldn't find research that talked about legacy system migration and data being trapped in a legacy system Um, I don't know that I knew the term vendor lock at the time, but I passed this idea by several people, and it seemed like they were kind of like, oh, ew, that's awful, oh, that's broad. So between faculty members kind of turning their nose up at it and um, not being able to establish this as a problem using authors with standing in the literature, which that you're going to have to do. You can't just say something's a problem because I say it's a problem. No one cares. When you're a PhD candidate, nothing you say matters. Everything you say, literally. I've posted my dissertation, uh, right? I'm sure I have. If I have not, email me if you missed it. Um, I don't say the sky is blue without quoting a source from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, quantifying that the sky is blue, in fact. No, literally, every statement of fact you make has to be backed up in the literature. And your committee is duty bound to go look at those sources. And if you quote something as saying, software engineering is hard, and you post something that doesn't mention anything about software engineering, they're going to ask you about it. So that's where I would say, if you are posting references that don't really have anything to do with what you're citing, probably want to stop that and start being for real. So your problem area will start broad. I want to do something in big data. I've had people telling me, students tell me, my problem area is big data. Well, that's not a problem area. That's an area of technology. You got to get a lot more narrow than that, a lot more focused. So you'll probably narrow down a definable problem, but make sure that you're backing it up in the literature. That it doesn't necessarily, the problem won't necessarily be in recommended areas of future research. The problem area can be findings where people say that it's a problem. I used findings from research to justify that employee turnover had an adverse effect on knowledge management, on organizational corporate knowledge. For example, uh, so yeah, make sure you're substantiating the problem in the literature. And I put that in bold. And I know Dr. Brown, I've heard it come out of his mouth in his recordings. You can't just say something is a problem. Okay, so that's your first step, really, is you want to work on something that people care about, that matters. So you have to justify why you're doing your research project. It can't just be um, some pure idea off the top of your head. You have to justify why this is worth researching. Okay, so that's the problem area. And then the next thing is your research question. And that will be things like, what is the relationship between X and Y? Why does this problem exist in certain, and then you can narrow down the population where you want to do your research. So there's quite a few links down here in the speaker notes on research questions. Read them. Read those links. A research question focuses the research, and it actually shapes the research, because your research project will answer the research question. So linguistically, in English, it needs to be written such that it can be answered. Um, a lot of times, the almost always the research question will drive you towards a qualitative research project where you're doing interviews and you're asking a lot of why did that happen, you ask why about 5 times and you finally get to root cause analysis, um, or it will be quantifiable if you want to just like what factors are predictors of success in something, that tends towards a quantified research methodology where you'll have a null hypothesis and alternative hypotheses. The research question can't be yes or no. In past classes, I have asked people to post a research question, and and I've seen things like, can Hadoop help with big data problems? That's a yes or no question, and it's always yes. Uh, can it? Yeah, can. Yeah, yes. Now there may be all kinds of strings attached to that, but don't your research questions don't ask can something because anything's possible, uh, or could uh, you know could software engineering processes help with software engineering? Yeah, they could. They could. There's no way to there's no way to answer that. You understand? So the way you ask your research question um, will frame your research, and it's got to relate back to the problem statement. Oh, and before I go any further, yes, your dissertation must be in your concentration area. Your problem statement, your research question must be in your concentration area. So a student informed me recently that that is not in your handbook, but I know I've heard Dr. Brown say it in the dissertation preparation sessions, and and I know you've heard me say it. So there you go. So yeah, research question. It is literally a question you will answer with the data that you analyze and your findings. Okay. And then the purpose, uh this is um sometimes really obvious, not always. The purpose of a research project. Okay. So you will write a basically a single sentence that describes the intended purpose of the research project. And I have 3 examples here that I have seen in different literature articles. This could be like, say, you're doing something with software engineering processes and effectiveness and time management or teleworking or whatever. It the purpose of your research project could be, beg your pardon, to provide actionable data to managers. That's one purpose. Um, it it could be to shed light on a topic, up on a problem, testing it against a theoretical lens, like the technology acceptance model. There's others out there. Mine was one I worked on initially and went away from was called ch- uh, transactive memory system theory, which is a theory where groups learn together and they specialize and they become more effective because they realize they don't all have to know everything within the domain that they're working on. because a team will start to specialize. And as a member of that team, I start to, you know, ignore information about a subject because I know my colleague Bill is the expert on that. So I don't have to burn time and brain cells remembering this or learning about it. I just make sure Bill gets this message if I got an email or if I found an article or whatever. I just make sure Bill knows that. So I don't need to know about, say Bill is an expert in machine learning with R. I know I don't have to learn anything about machine learning with R if I got Bill. So I transactive memory theory is examines the phenomenon of me building a memory, a knowledge base, not of the facts themselves, but where to go to get the facts, almost like an index. Like I'm building an index of which team members I can go to because I know they are going to know the most about their subject area. So I started to do that because that's what I worked on enterprise social media networks like Facebook for Work or Yammer or um, oh good grief, Slack, any kind of discussion board. Slack, SharePoint is a wonderful enterprise social media. Anything that lets you do things with like discussion boards and wikis and blogs. And did I say discussion boards? Yeah, and document management. Um, enterprise social media is a knowledge base that promotes things like knowledge sharing. So that's what I was working on. And I started to do something with transactive memory theory. And somebody told me, now you're doing a qualitative project. You don't have to map to a theory. So I didn't test against a theoretical lens, as we said in that second bullet there. And then sometimes develop a new theory, but I would say no. Your committee will approve all of this stuff. You'll probably do a highly abridged version of your dissertation called a dissertation prospectus, which is just a very short treatment of what you intend to do, and it's and then you get that approved, uh, and then actually you write your first three chapters in the form of what's called a proposal, where you are formally proposing to execute a research project. And it's your chapters 1, 2, 3, your intro, your literature review, and your methodology. And if you when you get that approved, they'll say approved, execute. And in your methodology, you'll say what you're going to do. I'm going to interview 10 people and analyze the results, or I'm going to put out a survey to 5,000 IT leaders and I'm going to analyze the result. And they look at all of that, the way you've justified your problem, the way your methodology aligns with your research question, and you will get your proposal approved through the Institutional Review Board or IRB process. And that's your permission slip to go forth and be a researcher. And it's very exciting when that happens, when you get IRB approval. Was for me anyway. So your committee will be approving your ideas as you go through the DSRT courses. And generally speaking, unless it's really clear and they think you got a good handle on it, you won't be developing a new theory or a new framework or anything like that. As I was told, save it for Dr. Walker. When I was working on mine, I tossed around the idea of suggesting a modification to like the software development lifecycle to incorporate issues of that vendor lock, that data getting stuck in the old system, and I was kind of told, yeah, I was part of that conversation that I had in the first, oh, it was the first month or two of the program. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time. And then I jumped on enterprise social media and how it preserves organizational knowledge, and I was able to run that one all the way to the end and land that airplane on the tarmac. So yeah, that's the purpose of your research project. What is it intended to do? And you'll get, like I said, you'll get more on all this. This isn't even a dissertation course, but they want us to bring this up, and that's why you have the discussion coming up. Discussion number 8. Now these, I know these, this font is tiny, but this is a cut and pasted from your actual discussion. So as you get closer to your first dissertation class, it's essential to start preparing. So we've already looked at research articles, and dissertations are really just long research articles. But what you're supposed to do is go to the dissertation database. So you will go to the university library and you'll go to the databases. You can usually find them in alphabetical order, and all of the published dissertations out there are in ProQuest. The name of the database is ProQuest Dissertations and Theses Global. Real quickly, I will look at Cumberland's and remind myself what they call that database. If I go to academics and I go to the library, and then I click on databases, and I click on D. Yes, go to the library, click on databases, and click on D for dissertations. And the library just says dissertations and theses. So pull up some, as it says here in the discussion. And these are not the topics of discussion, but these are the things you should be looking for. Is the topic attainable? Is the problem rooted in the literature? Just like I said, is the research empirical, which means it's not just a literature review. It's not just blah, I discovered, I researched this topic, and this is what the articles say. That's not what we're doing here. Is there a survey? Is there an interview guide? Like I did 10 qualitative interviews. Has the data been analyzed via some statistical tool? I did a qualitative project. I used oh, good grief, it's been years. Max QDA, qualitative data analyzer. And then, yeah, is there a theoretical model or framework? And in my program, we had to develop a dissertation framework. I thought I had a good one, and I had one faculty member who had never done anything since her dissertation, had no publishing history whatsoever, wanted me to do it her way. So my dissertation framework's a little bit different. But anyway, yeah, you got to stay real flexible, guys, when you're working with your faculty members, because they bring different opinions, and sometimes they're really strong opinions, and you just got to be flexible and get through it. Your dissertation isn't your last opportunity to publish research; it's your first opportunity. So try to stay flexible. And a lot of times, as I learned, they really are trying to keep you out of trouble. And they did, kept me out of trouble. And I got through in 3 years, and I was done. And there you go. But for this discussion, discuss the topic of a dissertation or two that you have found, the problem that was researched, the methodology that they used to address the research, and the findings. So yeah, this is 4 or 5 sentences, for each dissertation. And then you're welcome to talk about it, discuss it. Why did you think it was cool? Why is it something you might want to do something similar to? And then, ask questions of each other and discuss the whole thing. Okay, so that's the discussion this week. And again, initial responses and 2 replies are due by Wednesday night, and then you're done. I'll try and post final grades on Thursday, and that will be that. So, signing off from Central Arkansas. I will wish you all luck in your future endeavors. Uh, Data science is obviously booming in all of its layers: machine learning, uh, business intelligence, analytics, um, big data tools, different data sources, social media analytics. It is just exploding. I think uh, there are way more openings than there are qualified people to fill them in America. So it's definitely a growth industry. And, blockchain shows promise, but I believe the true impact remains to be seen. So I keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to make a career out of it. And I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors and on your dissertation journey. And I'll see you in the future.